Reds, we are back after that embarrassing performance away to Man City. Um, it's just no words what I've just watched. I think it's got to go down as one of the worst performances of the season. I think we were abysmal at times. But before we get into the show, make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure you go head over to Anfield Road TV. And as you can see, Jack is here. How you feeling after that, mate?
I don't know why I sat through the last half an hour, but with Liverpool fans, we back this team in the good times and most importantly in the bad times as well, mate. But yeah, as we'll discuss today, mate, second half, utter shambolic performance, but at this elite level when you're playing against the City side that was playing so well, you weren't even out of second or third gear for me. I think if they would have got into like a bit of fully into their stride, especially that second half, the last 20 minutes. It felt like when we played Manchester United a couple of weeks ago, that could have really got really embarrassing. And yeah, but there's a lot to talk about today, mate. But massive thank you for having me on, mate. And of course, probably lost a lot of our sanity that second half, but we'll get into it.
So, when the lineups come out, we looked at it. We see there was no Darwin Núñez; he was on the bench. We see the same midfield three we've seen plenty of times this season in Elliott, Henderson, and Fabinho. The back four look probably our best back four that we've got, and obviously Ali in goal.
Yeah.
What did you make of the lineup when you see it come out?
It was risky for me in relation to Harvey Elliott, but at the end of the day, mate, I said to you before we come on here, we've got a lot of these. It's going to be a very long season, and I think we've all come to the conclusion of that. It's not like we can change anything drastically in the midfield from a tactical sense. We're not going to go toe-to-toe with Manchester City, especially when you got It says a lot. Today showed that Manchester City's defenders, or they were playing four centre-halves, and they were out-footballing our midfield. That just shows the inability, first and foremost, of Liverpool's midfield to actually get the ball, pass it on the edge of the box. But you had John Stones, who for me was man of the match. Tremendous performance by him because he was getting the ball and he was just dropping into like the spaces in behind Liverpool's midfield. And he was playing up front for a large majority of that game.
You had him Cruyff turning and dropping the shoulder to Liverpool's midfield three to centre half. Let's get that. No centre half should be dropping the shoulder on Cruyff turning a rival big team midfield players. It shouldn't be happening. John Stone shouldn't be getting the space he's getting in our midfield. And then obviously the start of the game, we kicked off and we got string two passes together. Kept giving the ball away early on. Didn't like the pressure Man City were putting under us. And then obviously we got that bit of a break where, listen, City are not the best at the back defensively this season. We've seen it. They've conceded goals this season. And then obviously we get the breakthrough through Mo Salah. Jota done well to hold the ball up, but I thought Jota could have gone on his own to finish it off, but he just didn't look like he had the pace up there. Obviously, Mo Salah finished it off. And how did you feel after we scored the first goal? Was you confident that we could go on to win the game, or did you just think it was a matter of time?
We all watch our first half, mate, and I think I liked in certain moments, and big up chats, we'll get Ricky to get through all your comments in a little second as well, keep on getting them in. And we played good in the first half for me. I felt, as you alluded to, we didn't do a lot with the ball, but I think in terms of just transitions, Liverpool's best moments prior to the second half were obviously on the counter-attacks. Obviously, it's so pivotal, that Jack Grealish. I know I give Stones man of the match, but I think Grealish would have been very close because that is a world-class defender. I didn't know he had that in his locker, the speed, but I tell you what, if that was a Liverpool player denying a City chance and we went on and won, it more or less changed the game, the whole complexion. Because Liverpool went up 2-0, then we could just more or less sit behind the ball and look to very much hit Manchester City on the counter-attack a lot more. But it wasn't to be. And yeah, the goal, it was all right, but we just, quite frankly, didn't do enough with the ball when we had it, mate. But it's been the story of our season. I get taking Salah off in the second. in the second half, just basically to protect him. Like, because he's a man possessed today in that first opening 45 minutes. He was pressing, he was everywhere, he was in the right moments at the right times. But yeah, it's apart from the odd counter attacks here and there, but at the end of the day, it's a top of show. If we're not going to go toe to toe from a bowling point of view with Manchester City. You've got to sit in there, sit everyone behind the board, and then look to it. Man City on the counter attacking transitions.
Right, let's just quickly go through some of these comments. We've got Seamus in. We're finished, in my opinion. We've got Lights Out Sound 4-1 down, and the players will walk in. Hate to say it, but it's time for a change. This team is not playing for Klopp anymore. Lavanya, a death by 1,000's cut. What a start to an odd weekend. You've got Aaron in there. This was pathetic.
Definitely.
You've also got. I thought we were crap in the first half as well, apart from a couple of breaks. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think we were very good at all in the first half. I don't think we was okay. I think we got not a lucky break, but a well-executed break with a ball over the top from Trent to Jota, and Jota holding it off for Salah. But I thought, apart from that, the passing was abysmal.
There seems to be no pattern of play, Mason Chas.
Nah.
And we seeing that, and I was watching it with my dad, and probably all of us, whoever we watched it on our own or whatnot. And that's the mentality of it's all right. It's always thinking as fans, but you look at the players. We'll get on to the second half, but you get similar to when we played Real Madrid. It got to the 50th minute, and they just switched off like that, and that is so poor. Any level of football, mate. But as I said, I'm spot on there. But it's going to be a very long season. We still got a lot of football to go.
And you've got Sean Dyche's right-hand man, Tom, in the chat.
But he is an Everton fan, by the way, chat. I'm just wondering who that is.
Aaron again saying our football is basic.
Very.
But Liverpool's football's been basic under Jurgen Klopp anyway. We're not known to be a footballing team. We're known to be a hard-pressing, energetic side that force teams to make mistakes and then punish them like that. But when you've got players that are at the wrong age in the team still, you're not going to get that energy fight because they can't do it no more. They haven't got the legs to do it. Like City's midfield in Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Rodri is just levels above what we had out there. So it's going to be hard to get hold of them.
That's the thing, though, in terms of, as you alluded to, and chat, so spot on. Like, as you said, mate, we're not doing what we do well. You look at Trent, he hasn't got a Scooby-Doo what he's doing, doesn't know to press, defend, does whatever. It looks like, obviously, all that gym work and 2 weeks off done absolutely nothing, in all honesty. When was the last time Trent actually whipped in a half-decent ball and got an assist this season?
He would have got an assist today if Jota had the ability to run forward and score himself, but he looks the man that ain't scoring.
And even Robbo, the fullbacks.
Oh, Robbo's horrific.
Yeah, and we'll get on to obviously the second half in terms of, but his defensive duties today again, Robbo, his inability. I don't know what it is with Robbo. And I think Carragher called him out on Twitter, and he's right. And bear in mind, Carragher has played with quite a lot of fullbacks that he wasn't best too pleased with. Remember, Steve Finnan used to have absolute bloody murder with John Anarisa. Carragher, and he's true. He's like, Robbo, you don't always need to press and get caught up the pitch, because we'll speak about the second half Shambles. But even on their first goal, mate, in that first half, it's defensively after defensive pressing. Well, for me, I'm sorry, but Van Dijk has finished at this elite level. He is not going to go back up to those Ballon d'Or levels for me, in all honesty. I know it's a bit drastic, but I'm not just saying that to be controversial, but I just don't see Virgil van Dijk getting back up to those levels, because it was good when players believed in his aura, like in terms of, we don't want to go near Van Dijk. But every single opportunity City had today, and we've seen already this season, they're always constantly either running a Trent or running at Virgil van Dijk. Yeah. He's just too erratic. If you replace Dejan Lovren and Virgil van Dijk for the last 6-8 months, it's crystal clear. They look the exact same player. And for me, yes, it's not just Van Dijk from a defensive point of view, but yeah, he's just making all the wrong decisions, Virgil van Dijk, for me. And he's not going to get back up to the levels for me.
And Aaron's put a good one in here. So he's not Klopp out But you do ask the question whether Klopp has the hunger for anymore. I do think he does, but I just think he's looking at it and thinking, this team ain't going to give me no more than what they've given me. But I want the chat to put in there, if Klopp does go, who do you get in? Because I've seen some names on social media that are complete nonsense to come in after Klopp, who ain't good enough in my opinion. But yeah, chat, get your names in the chat who you think could replace Jurgen Klopp if he did leave.
I think we can all agree we would of course going to give Jurgen Klopp time, but at the end of the day, even my dad was saying it's down to the owners. Like, yes, Klopp, of course, we can question his tactics today, but in all honesty, second half, Jurgen Klopp can't do as much. That's the players' responsibility, first and foremost. Klopp's probably spent 15 minutes talking to them, telling them to get into shape and everything. But then when you just blows up in your face, in all honesty, the first 5-8 minutes in that second half, Klopp can't do much more. That's not a tactical. That's just a player mentality of being absolutely ridiculous in terms of just switching off.
Before we do move on to the second half, there is one thing I want to talk about in the first half. Rodri. Should he have been sent off?
For me, yes. But thinking about it after the game, when you look at Fabinho, in all honesty, I think the first 5 minutes, the referee was completely out of his depth. And I found it laughable that the City fans were booing the ref. I was fully expecting a Rodri winner at 2-1 or something. Well, he nearly scored at the back post, but Rodri, he is the master in European football. Him and Casemiro, apart from Casemiro this season in the United shirt, they are clever players. They know exactly what they're doing. The ref, for me, was out of his depth, but even with the good refereeing performance today, Liverpool would have been completely miles off it anyway. So Liverpool weren't good enough, but yeah, I think Fabinho got away with it. So it balances itself out anyway.
Trent made Grealish look world class. To be fair, Trent's made everyone look world class this season at right back. And we got Henry in the chat. Hi, Jack, just popping in to say hi. Seamus, we have so many players at the end of the road. Even signing players this summer is still not going to be enough. Basically, most of the team needs replacing. Fair enough, but it depends. Like we say, we've still got FSG in charge, so I don't expect bundles of money. We have serious issues all around the club, and I feel sorry for the fans who don't get hurt by FSG and Klopp. Then you've got, at the moment, nobody can come in and replace Klopp. That's exactly what I keep saying. Yeah. Who's going to come in now, replace Jurgen Klopp, do a better job than what he's doing under the shoestring budget that he's got at FSG as them as owners?
Most managers will come in, the modern era of managers, we all know, mate, and just they're expecting 200, 300 million. That's the modern day manager. But Jurgen, he's the best at what he does in terms of squeezing every last ounce of his team in terms of a shoestring budget, as you said there, mate. But yeah, and it's a massive 12 months. And I don't think all of our team's going to be sorted in 12 months. It's about a 2-year period for me, mate.
All day long. You've seen it with Fergie. Fergie's had like a rebuild at Man United. He does it through summers. Ten Hag's had a rebuild. Chelsea are going through some sort of, I don't even know what they're going through at that
football
club.
Manager or FIFA.
Yeah. Teams need a rebuild. Arteta had a rebuild at Arsenal.
Took him 3 years and look where it's
so like if any Liverpool fan that thinks it's all going to happen this one summer, we're going to be back challenging for the league title next season. No, it's not going to happen. But Jack, let's just one more comment before we move on to the second half. But if Klopp also gets sacked, Dalglish will step in. No, not for me. Dalglish needs to sit in the stand like he's been doing.
I think Kenny, when he did come in all those years ago, it was the right time. We were absolutely, we think we're a mess at the minute, but in terms of the whole club, there was only one man in the world that could actually come in and steady the ship, give us a bit of confidence as a fan base. And Klopp's going nowhere. But of course, we can question his tactics today. But at the end of the day, it's down to the players. But it's going to be. But we're going to the second half, mate, and we'll speak about the tactics.
So, Liverpool's halftime team talk. What shambles happened in there for that to come out and give that performance?
Klopp's give them all the instructions, mate. And for some really weird reason, for me, I think all of us, if I was in that changing room, and I'm pretty sure Klopp's told them, just soak up the first 5-10 minute periods. Don't give City any opportunity to really get on the ball and get in behind us. But has been the story of our season, mate. It's utter shambles. And back to front. And Alisson's been our saviour this season, but he should have. Well, it's not just him; it's the whole. You look at Robbo, you look at Van Dijk, you look at Trent. It was so disjointed. It's apps. I feel sorry. The only player out there at the minute in terms of our defence that's trying his best, but he's looking like he's a rabbit in headlights. Due to the players around him is Canate. Like you're getting Hendo passing Canate the ball 5 yards away, and he's getting pressed and everything.
Did you see Henderson wave his hands up in the air, shouting at Canate to give him a pass 2 yards away from each other? Canate gave him the ball, and what did Henderson do with it? Gave it straight back to Canate.
Don't really start on Henderson. For me, we know I love him.
Captain raises his hands up. That's what he does for 90 minutes.
I love him as a captain, but in terms of all honesty, and that stems back to what I was saying, we're not going to go toe-to-toe with City in terms of football and game point of view. I think he needs to replace Milner in terms of the squad rotation player. We can't be relying on Henderson, in all honesty, to get where we want to be. Fair enough, it was Henderson 5 years ago when he had legs. Henderson, as you alluded to, the continuous, not just Henderson, but Liverpool's midfield in general today, you're getting the ball and you constantly, I've literally made on my notes, how many times did we pass that ball backwards? And then you're looking at Jurgen Klopp on the sideline, fuming. And he's quite right, he's like, all of us just, and the one times where we did break through on the counter-attacks, as Aaron alluded to in the first half, we got in, because surprise, surprise, we broke the line, we played a 5-10 yard pass through the channels between Manchester City's midfields. We can do it. It's just that, of course, they lack belief, but it goes hand in hand with the sheer quality on the pitch. It's not good enough. But I was saying to my dad before at full time, we need at least 5-6 world-class midfielders to save us, and that's not doable in itself. But yeah.
Tom's comment, hi Jack, Ricky, missed the game for the first time in a very long time. Seen the look on your face and guess it was a bad day for the Red Men. Underinvestment from FSG, in brackets, forget spending, guys. Listen, it probably wasn't the worst thing missing that game, because it's the same old rubbish the whole season. I said to Luke on a podcast, I reckon we need 7 out of 9 points to still be under consideration for top 4. Well, that 7 points are gone. The most we can get is 6. I don't see us beating Chelsea away on Tuesday.
I swear, if we get beat by this Chelsea team, oh my God.
And then we've got Arsenal on the Sunday next week. But
I hope we score 5 own goals against Arsenal and play on the halfway line. And Van Dijk puts in a performance like he has today, because it would basically helping out Manchester City, of course. But it's mad, the space. And that means so much to Tom as well, though, mate. We just Tom and just everyone in general. It pains us, and of course we've been good over the last couple of years. But we all know, Ricky, all of us, Liverpool means so much to us. And when you're just seeing abject performances and players not really running 5-10 yards, I get everyone to go, yes, of course, to be mentally tired. But how many times can that be an excuse? At the end of the day, you're telling me you can't run 5-10 yards. You've got the best nutritionists. I'm not saying you've got the best doctors, because we've got the worst doctors, medical departments in the Premier League, our club. But yeah, Shay, as the ring, Shay, in chat, and Rick, you look at the teams down there in the bottom. You look from 12th to 20th. Anyone can go down.
Yeah.
So where's us going? Oh, we're going to be picking 3 points up against Leeds. It's going to be so difficult, because everyone's going to be getting at each other anyway, mate.
I know you've written some things down. Any points you want to talk about in the rest of the game?
I've already had my little rant about Virgil. I think he's done. He's done. Alisson missed the ball. Always, and the absolute, always the victim shouts as well by Manchester City. Couple of mates went to the game today as well. But of course, BT Sky won't pick up on it anyway. And it was quite literally the whole stadium. It wasn't just pockets of fans. It was a whole stadium singing it. But of course, Manchester City are the darlings of the Premier League, and
they lowered the allocation for Liverpool fans.
Yeah. It was like 2,000 embarrassing, really. But They're a classless club. You've got some great City fans out there, but it's the large majority that just. The thing is, I'd hope. This is why I want to. Well, I don't want to see Newcastle successful, but I think the Newcastle fan base are very intelligent, and especially from what they've been through, they've got a lot of respect for me in terms of Newcastle as a city and that. But Manchester City are being, yeah, the large majority wreck it for the sound Manchester City fans. But not a people will get heard in the media, of course, because. Well, yeah.
It's always the same, isn't it? But before we wrap it up, where do we go from here? What do we learn from this game that we haven't learned off of the shocking season that we've had already?
We need. I think the build-up play needs to be much better. I get we've played Manchester City, one of the best teams in the whole of Europe at the minute, as we know. The quality of their team is quite frankly scary at times. They didn't even have Erling Haaland today. I think that probably.
Imagine they did have him.
They didn't even need him. Alvarez was there, and what a good performance he put in. But yeah, I don't think we've learned anything new, mate. A new chat, which is very disappointing. We need to. I'd say we've been saying it all season. Just the mentality, really, first and foremost, needs to change. A lot of these players need to have a hard look in themselves every single week that's gone by over the last couple of months. It's the same individual mistakes, tactically inept. But yeah, it stems from the mentality first and foremost. Until we actually get our act together, even when we go behind, Ricky and chat, it's not like I miss the feeling. Joe, when we won the league, you know exactly Liverpool would go 1-2-0 down, but you'd know that we'd come back and try and do something. But we're a very long way from that, mate. But disappointing, but I don't think anyone expected us to rock up to Manchester City and batter them, in all honesty, because it was very unrealistic.
You've got a comment from Mark. We never win after internationals anyway, so we expected. Mate, we don't win after internationals. What was it? We just struggle so bad. 12:30 kickoffs and after internationals, you might as well just write us off. It's pointless, isn't it, when Liverpool play them games? Panov in there. Right, Jack, you feeling better, mate?
Still got a sore throat laugh, but probably made even worse by me shouting at the telly. But big up there, mate. And chat, I know it's early start to your Saturday, but try and enjoy it with your family, your mates, go out or just chill for the night and try and take your mind off the footy because it's disappointing. Very disappointing.
Nagelsmann's available. He was Nagelsmann's Marshal for when Klopp leaves, but I thought he would have possibly still be at Bayern Munich and not been sacked before. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think Nagelsmann goes Real Madrid anyway in the summer. So I think Carlo Ancelotti goes to Brazil. So I think Nagelsmann takes over at Real Madrid. You got Russ Morgan, Jack Ladd.
Well,
any Arsenal fan that expected Liverpool to do him a favour today.
Sorry, that I did promise Russ and the Arsenal contingent.
Saka's on the bench for Arsenal this afternoon.
I suppose you need to rest him though. He's just come well.
Well, yeah. After Gareth Southgate, absolutely
ran him into him.
Ran him into played him for both them games was pointless. But one last thing I want to touch on before we wrap up: Guardiola celebrating in front of Costas.
Classless. Christ, if that was Jurgen Klopp, you would not hear the last of it anyway from social media Muppets. There's absolutely silly sausages. If I was Costas, I would have took a 10-match ban and absolutely buttered them or something. Because there's things that you do, and even you wouldn't. Fair enough, you're doing that in Sunday League, but half a mellow, have a word with yourself, mate. Like shaking the hand of Pep Guardiola. Costas or like Arthur should have done is just shoved him. Cheeky so.
Arthur probably done that because he knew he'd never play in a game for us.
Yeah, but that just goes to show the mentality in this squad currently.
It's in the bin.
Yeah, it's in the bin. We're too much of a soft touch in reality playing against. And don't get me started on those commentary today as well. It's on BT because I just don't nicely.
But Reds, I think we will leave it there. Go enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yeah.
Forget about Liverpool and the result. We go again Tuesday against Chelsea away. Me and Luke will be back Monday night at 7, I believe, to do the Chelsea preview. Jack, what you got lined up, mate?
I don't know. I wish I had done. But shout out, chat, if you're a fan of action movies, go and watch John Wick 4. It's the best in the saga, anyway.
I need to watch the first one.
Oh, lads, non-stop action, mate. Absolutely amazing filmmaking. But if you want to do something your weekend, go and watch John Wick, because, yeah, I love my films, but that is top class. Bit of a random one, but go and enjoy your weekend. Go and see that or something in the cinema.
Reds, on your way out, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Also, go check out Anfield Road TV.
And again, big up chat as well. Just a couple of last comments there, Rick, if you just want to quickly go through them. Yeah. Yeah.
Time for 66 to have a long rest from the team, 100%.
That's a whole new show, but we could have went on. Yeah.
Trent, Fab, Hendo, been them all. Up the fucking Reds, and that is it. Yeah. So Reds, we'll see you Monday night. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Oh, sorry there, lad. Yeah, rewind it, Tom. I don't know where it was anyway. Just for me, just to quickly cap off, Tom, if you missed it. I just think he's done at this level. At that the Van Dijk at the Ballon d'Or, second place. I just don't think he's capable of getting back to those levels. It's like when you watch certain players like the likes of Torres, Owen, lose that yard of pace. The aura of Van Dijk is no more. Gone are the days where teams were petrified of him. They'd go the other end of the pitch. But yeah, he's done for me, Tom. I don't know. Yeah, I'll probably do a show of that, really, but it's quite controversial. But I think if we take our blinkers off and actually analyse his game, he's shocking.
You could do a show on individual players and how much they fell. But Reds, see you Monday night. Stay safe. You'll never walk alone.